सेवा करने को हंसती बर्बादनी को शांति पूरे नमो हम बुद्धि से ओ विष्णु से ओम राम हरे कृष्ण जगदेव मैं जगदीश मैं Shakti But be that you can day to come. Somebody out my Vishwas me from the God more to be around. Looking on to something.
Good afternoon, all. As you all are aware that today's topic is on the corporate compliances by the private companies under the Companies Act 2013. Today we have our keynote speaker Akshit Jagir with us, and Akshit is partner with Pincha and Company, a firm of company secretaries, and this Pincha and Company was actually established in the established two decades back by Mr. Pradeep Pinchaji, and since then Kalani and Company as well as Pincha and Company has strong bonding with each other. और उसके बाद 2014 Akshit was basically introduced as partner into this firm, and then अनफॉर्चुनेटली कोविड के दौरान जो प्रदीप पिंचाजी थे जिन्होंने इस फॉर्म को एस्टैब्लिश किया उनकी डेथ हो गई और बिकॉज ऑफ द कोविड बट देन ही हैज टेकन दिस फॉर्म टू द नेक्स्ट लेवल कि उस वक्त भी जितने क्लाइंट थे उससे भी कई सारे क्लाइंट्स पिंचा एंड कंपनी में और भी जुड़े बड़े क्लाइंट different companies clients. So Akshit has a lot of good exposure on corporate law compliances, whether it is private companies, public companies, or listed companies. So today we will have the benefit of this knowledge over this subject. And before that, one by one, each and every speaker will dwell upon their topics which they have taken. So who is taking first? Okay, or you can share that presentation on WhatsApp also. Akshit can support now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Harshita Agarwal, and my colleagues, Mehul and Arjun, are going to present to you about what are the corporate compliance for a private limited company. So I am going to first start about section 185 and 186, which are one of the most important sections in the Companies Act.
So before that, can you explain that what is private company?
Private company means a company which restricts number of its members to 200, and which by its AOA not allow transfer rights to its members. The restriction on transfer rights.
And cannot offer going to public. So basically, there are three characteristics of a private limited company. First one is it cannot offer to public for subscription of security. Second one is it restricts on transfer of shares by way of articles. It doesn't mean that any shareholder of any private company cannot transfer its shares. The restriction is basically imposed via articles of association. And third one is the maximum number of members is 200. So this is the condition. And yes,
And but there are some conditions related to if that private company is subsidiary of the public company,
then it is deemed
so then it is deemed public company. So even if it is registered as private company as per the MCA, but since it is subsidiary company of the another public company, then it will be treated as deemed public company. So therefore, various provisions which are applicable on private companies or various exemptions which are applicable on private companies will not be applicable to that deemed
Deemed
public
public.
company. It is very important to see sometime while examining these facts.
Thank you, sir, for telling us about what is a private company. So now I start section 185. Loan to directors and related parties. This section outlines the regulations governing loan to directors and related parties. It specifies the conditions under which loan, guarantee, or securities can be provided by a company and penalties for non-compliance of this section. Prohibition on loan to director. The main rule is that the company cannot provide any loan to its director, the director of its holding company, or partner of its director. Like director is a member in a partnership firm, partner. So that partner also cannot take loan from that company. And relatives or director are also covered. And the firm in which the director is partner is also covered. So company cannot give loan to that firm also. Providing guarantees or securities for loan taken by them from a bank or financial institution is also restricted under this section. But there are certain exceptions to this rule. Like loans can be given to parties in whom director is interested if by special resolution it passed in a general meeting. So parties in which director is interested, uh, uh, first private company. A private company where such director is a director or a member. And second, any body corporate where director controls 25% or more of its voting power. And third, any company where the director controls or influences the board of the company. So these are the party in which director is interested. So loan can be given to these parties if a special resolution is passed in a general meeting and a ex-ante statement to that special resolution which shall contain full particulars of the loan, like what is the interest rate, what is the tenure, and what is the purpose of the loan. Loan, there is another condition that the loan shall be utilized and must for the principal business activity of the borrowing company. So loan taken by the company must be utilized for its principal business activities and not for any other purpose. So this is the draft of special resolution, which shall be passed for giving loan to interested parties. So it's
so requirement of section 185 is to that you cannot give loan to your directors. Subsection 1 says directly or indirectly, you cannot advance loan in favor of any director, director of holding company, partner of that director, and relative of director or any firm in which such director or relative is a partner. So primarily, the requirement of section 185 is that you cannot give loan to your director or any person who is related to that director, either in case of relative or partnership in case he is undertaking any of the businesses in the form of partnership firm. Secondly, the second portion of section 185 is that in case of private companies or in case of any business structure, we need to have any sort of capital requirement in the form of loan or in the form of share capital. So loan is the, this is the source of fund जो बहुत easily available हो जाता है. And in case if it is coming from your related party or any party which is very well known to you, so there comes certain restrictions in Companies Act. So second is that. What are those restrictions? First restriction is that you cannot give loan. Second restriction is yes, loan can be given, but what are the conditions? So the condition is loan can be advanced to parties in whom director is interested. So one thing is very clear that director को तो loan नहीं दिया. अब आप loan किसको दे सकते हो? So definition of interested persons. First one is private companies includes any private company where director is a member or director. Means you can advance any loan to that private company in which your director is a director or member. Second thing is any body corporate. Body corporate means other than private company. It may be a public limited company. It can be LLP. Okay. Any body corporate where director controls 25% or more of voting power. Third condition is board influence. Corporates where the board acts on the direction of the lending company's director. Now, what is the situation where any company can influence the decision of board? Any of you? How can a lending company can influence the board composition of borrower company? Any example? आप में से कोई दे सकते हैं? ऐसा कभी नहीं ऑडिट्स में या क्लाइंट्स की बिग क्वेरी आई हो. In case if the parties are JV companies holding subsidiary relationship अगर कहीं होता है, ठीक है, कोई PE investment private equity अगर कोई लेके आते हैं तो investors की ऐसी conditions होती है by which वो any company may control your board composition. But there is a condition that while advancing loan to your interested persons, first condition is that special resolution should be passed. Second condition that while passing that resolution, there should be a disclosure in your special resolution and the explanatory statement to be attached with the notice, which should include the purpose of loan and full particulars. Full particular means the rate of interest, repayment terms, and so on. Now here comes the main problem: utilization of fund. If I'm the lending company and I wish to advance loan to the body corporate in which my director is a partner or member or holding 25% or more voting power. Now, how can I control that entity that it will utilize this loan as or under its principal business activity? Because these two are separate legal entities, and while I am advancing any loan, I cannot control the other entity. So how can I fulfill this requirement? Any suggestion?
क्या हुआ सब ब्लैंक हो जाते हो आप लोग तभी कुछ पूछते हैं क्यों
So how can you do is that while advancing loan, you should execute a loan agreement between the two parties, and you may bind that party via mentioning the condition that the loan so advanced should be utilized in your principal business sector. This is the only thing that you can do. इससे ज्यादा कुछ कंट्रोल अपन कर नहीं सकते. Okay, this is the format of special resolution.
This is the format of special resolution. So it will come here. It will come the name of the company to whom the loan is given, and the amount of loan which is given to such company. And it is written that the board shall negotiate, finance, and agree in terms of conditions of the loan. Now we will see explanatory statement attached to it. There should also be explanatory statement to the special resolution. Here it will also written that the company to whom the loan is given and the amount of loan to whom it is given, name of the director and name of the director or related who is interested. So his name also be written here. So there is also exemption for managing director or whole-time director. Like service condition, loan can be given to managing director or whole-time director as a part of service condition extended to all employees. Means if as a part of service condition, it is given to all employees. Like you can take loan of up to this amount and up to this interest rate. So it will also be given to managing director or whole-time director. Approved schemes. Loans are permissible under schemes approved by special resolution. Loans can also be given to full-time director under a scheme which shall be approved by members in a special resolution. So this is a draft of the special resolution through which loan can be given to managing director under a scheme. So here it will be written that what is the scheme of loan, and that board of directors shall finalize, sanction, and disburse the loan to managing and full-time directors, and shall decide what are the conditions for such loan, and explanatory statement attached to such loan. Here in explanatory statement, it will be written that the company has introduced a policy of loan scheme for its managing and full-time director. So here it will be written what is the purpose for which the loan is taken, amount of loan, what is the amount of loan, what is the rate of interest, and what is the recovery period. Means what is the tenure of loan. So it will be written here, and name of the director or key manager person to whom the loan is given or managing director will be written here. There is also exception that if a company grants loans or gives guarantee or security in its ordinary course of business, like a bank or a financial institution, then Section 185 not apply to such companies, provided interest must be at least equal to prevailing government security rates. Means your loan tenure is 1 year. So the interest rate on such loan shall be equal to 1 year government security yield.
तुम्हारी ऑडियंस उधर तुम्हारी शकल ही नहीं दिखेगी ना, तो ये समझ नहीं बोली बाहर आ जा, बाहर आके कुछ भी बैठा, ये तो पहले से ही प्लानिंग होनी थी अपनी, है ना. यहाँ देखो इस पे विराट कोहली का मैसेज आया हुआ है. विराट कोहली की जरा
लाइव शो स्क्रीन पर शेयर करना, शेयर नहीं होता इसको देखना. अभी इधर से तो शेयर हो रहा है, इस पे स्लाइड शो करने ना, इधर होता है ना फॉर्म देखने में। ये था ना, आगे बढ़ते हैं तो नीचे नीचे।
I was here. If a company is engaged in ordinary course of business of providing loan or guarantee or security, then Section 185 shall not apply to it. Provided that the interest rate charged for such loan is not less than prevailing government security rates. Means that your loan is for 2 years. Then the rate for such loan shall be equal to or more than the government security yield for 2 years. तो इट मस्ट बी एटलीस्ट इक्वल टू रिस्क फ्री रेट। मार्केट में रिस्क कितना है, रिस्क फ्री मिलता है तो इतना तो मिलना ही चाहिए लोन पे इंटरेस्ट।
हेल्प करने में
Next exception is loan to subsidiaries. So first we talk about volume subsidiary. Loans or guarantee or security can be given to its volume subsidiary provided loan is not utilized in principal and securities. So a company can give loan or provide guarantee or security on its loan taken from a bank or financial institution to its wholly owned subsidiary. And but there is a condition that such subsidiary shall use the loan for its principal business activities only. Loan to subsidiary, it is not a wholly owned subsidiary, but the other subsidiary. Loan cannot be given to subsidiary, but guarantee or security can be provided by a holding company for subsidiary used in principal business activities. So, if a company not comply with Section 185, like it gives to loan to its director or give a loan to its subsidiary company or give loan to a relative of director or partner of director or a firm in which director is interested, and in other ways violate Section 185, then there are certain penalties given in this section. So, company shall can face a fine of up to 25 lakh from 5 lakh to 25 lakhs. Officers in default can be imprisoned for a term up to 6 months or with a fine of 5 lakh to 25 lakh. Directors in default can face penalty up to 5 lakh to 25 lakh and imprisonment for a term up to 6 months or with both. So, here we take an example. A company A, in which there are three shareholders, A, B, C. A is holding 60%, B is holding 20%, C is holding 15%, and there is a D which is holding 15%. Company B, B shareholding 10%, A shareholding 10%, C shareholding 5%, others 75%. Here, can the A company give loan to B? Somebody would like to answer?
okay.
No, it's not the reason. Its reason is it cannot give loan as there are common directors A, B, and C in company B, and they are holding 25% shares. Voting power, they can influence it. They have 25% or more voting power, 25% voting power. So this is why A cannot give loan to B, as it will become an interested party. But it can give loan to B if a special resolution is passed and a loan agreement is made that the company may utilize it for its principal business activities, then loan can be given. Now there is a question. Company A has two directors, Mr. X and Mr. Y. Both holds 50% share each of company. Company A wished to give loan to following and have asked for your reviews on same. Loan to Director X. Can give loan to relative of Director Y. Director of company D, which is the holding company of A. होल्डिंग कंपनी के डायरेक्टर को partner or director of company A to a firm in which Mr. X director is a partner. To a firm in which relative of Mr. Y is a partner. दे सकते हैं? दे सकते हैं? नहीं, इसमें दे सकते हैं. नहीं, इसमें भी नहीं दे सकते. Sorry, I misread it. इसमें भी दे सकते हैं. Answer to all is no. So moving onwards towards
Since we are discussing here the provisions applicable to private limited company. So one important update regarding the applicability of section 185 on private limited companies. There was a notification in June 2015 that there are certain conditions basis that section 185 shall not apply to private company. And what are those conditions? First condition is that no other body corporate shall be a shareholder in that lending company. Second one is twice of its paid up share capital and free reserve. इतने का फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन से लोन नहीं होना चाहिए. And third condition is there should not be any default in repayment of loan to that institutions. If all three conditions are satisfied, in that case, in case of private limited company, section 185 shall not apply. It means, अब जो slide, can we give loan to director? Yes. Can we give loan to director's relative? Yes. Can we give loan to director's partner? Yes. Or a firm in which director is a partner or relative is a partner? Yes. The loan can be given. So this is the main update regarding section 185's applicability in case of section 180 private companies. अगर if possible तो वो notification show कर सकते हो. Can you see the sites? पता लगे 185 हमने पढ़ लिया और it is not applicable on private limited loans. अच्छा, quickly summarizing provisions of 185. Subsection 1 says you cannot give loan to director or relatives, firm in which director is a partner. Subsection 2 says yes, it can be given to interested parties subject to conditions that SR is passed and proper disclosure in the explanatory statement, and the loan should be utilized for its principal business activity. Third condition is yes, loan can be given to MDWTD subject to condition because executive directors are also employees of the company, and employees may ask for any financial help from the company. So being the employees of the company, loan can be extended to the MD and WTD subject to condition. First one, it is the part of the condition, employment condition. कि हमारी कंपनी में जितने भी एम्प्लॉइज सबको लोन दे सकते हैं, तो इट इज ऑल्सो एप्लीकेबल टू एमडीडब्ल्यूटीडी. एंड सेकंड कंडीशन इज कि आपने एमडीडब्ल्यूटीडी को लोन एडवांस करने की एक स्कीम अप्रूव करवाई है शेयरहोल्डर्स से. सो एंड फोर्थ वन इज इफ एनी ऑफ द कंपनीज इज रिलेटिंग टू जिनका प्रिंसिपल बिजनेस एक्टिविटी ही लोन देना है एनबीएफसी से. So you cannot restrict those sort of companies that they cannot advance loan to its director or any of the firm in which directors are partners. So 185 का basically चार conditions हो गई. First one, you cannot give loan to director. You can give loan to interested persons subject to passing of SR. Third one, MDWTD को लोन दिया जा सकता है subject to condition, उनकी employment condition हो या फिर आपकी स्कीम अप्रूव्ड हो. एंड फोर्थ वन इज अगर कुछ कंपनीज ऐसी हैं जो इसी बिजनेस में एंगेज्ड है तो वो कर सकते.
Yes, sir. We can download it. Yes, sir. Notification.
डाउनलोड
Yes, sir.
एक बार इसको ओपन कर दो.
Yes, sir.
ये कब का आया नोटिफिकेशन?
जून 2015।
तो तुम्हारे दोस्त नहीं आए क्या? हैं?
अप्लाई
अपनी स्लाइड में कवर होना चाहिए।
डायरेक्ट नेट पे जाके करती है।
अच्छा, अब since we all are into the CA form, and while executing assignments या while appearing for exam तो आपको सब तक याद करके जानी है। बट प्रैक्टिकली आप लोगों को सेक्शन 185 में अगर कोई डिफिकल्टी कुछ क्वेश्चंस है तो आप प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चंस में से डिस्कस कर सकते हैं। Being the auditors, being the consultants,
शेयर तो हो रहा ही है। इधर कोई स्लाइड शो की वजह से
the secretarial portion, ROC portion, MCA portion, company tax portion, other than
इधर
accounting part,
escape कर।
how can we check the compliances? Yes. It is not allowed. Subsection 1 specifically says you cannot advance any loan to any firm in which your director is a party. It depends upon the secretarial practices. There is a practice that while passing SR, I may cover each and every party of mine. Secondly, I can pass separate resolution for each of the party. And what is the recommended suggestion? Is since subsection 2 of 185 specifically says that full particulars of loan should be disclosed, principal business activity के लिए utilize होना चाहिए. So it would be better if it is person to person resolution is passed. Penalty? There is a penalty. Yes.
तो आई थिंक ये स्क्रीन पे नहीं आ रहा है, यहाँ शेयर हो गया।
तो मैं एक read करके बताता हूँ. So section 185 shall not apply to a private company in whose share capital no other body corporate has invested any money. Second condition is if the borrowing of such company from banks or financial institution or any body corporate is less than twice of its paid up share capital or 50 CR, whichever is lower, and such a company has no default in repayment of such borrowings subsisting at the time of making transactions under this section. ये जो टॉपिक है वो पॉइंट आउट करने के पीछे वजह सिर्फ इतनी है कि जनरली इस तरीके की क्वेरीज आती है, कंफ्यूजन्स रहते हैं कि सेक्शन 185 applicable on private companies or not. Reason being, the notification of exemption came into 2015 and in 2018 or 2021. The whole section was amended. Section 185 was completely substituted. Therefore, there was an ambiguity or there is a confusion amongst the professionals and the corporates that does this exemption still exist? Because after this notification, the whole section was substituted. But since the exemption was limited to section 185 and was not relating to any subsection or subclause or clause, therefore this exemption is still available to corporates. Now we may go to multiple.
Thank you, sir, for the notification. Now we shall continue section 186, which talks about loan and investment regulation. This section outlines the regulations governing loans and investments by companies. It details the layer of investment companies allowed, exceptions for foreign acquisitions, and the limits on loans guarantee and securities. Additionally, it specifies conditions under which companies can exceed these limits and the disclosure requirements in financial statements. So first we will talk about investment through layers. A company can only have two layers of subsidiaries. can only invest to not more than 2 years of subsidy investment companies. But company can acquire foreign acquisitions and acquiring companies outside India with more than 2 years is permissible if local law allows. If like a company in India has acquired a company in USA and that company in USA has three subsidiaries, has 3 layers of subsidiaries, which is allowed by the US laws, then such company can have such subsidiary even if it is more than 2 layers. And subsidies can have investment subsidies to meet legal requirements. Now, subsidies like a company has acquired a subsidiary, but subsidiary due to its legal requirements need to have two subsidiaries. So, such a company can acquire a subsidiary. So, we will talk about now loan, guarantee, security, and acquisition restrictions. A company can give loan or provide guarantee or security on a loan taken by a company and acquire or subscribe to paid up share capital of a company. But it shall not exceed these limits. First, 60% of paid up share capital, free reserve, and security given, or 100% of free reserves, whichever is more. So, a company can invest within these limits only. Let us see an example. Like a company has given following details. A paid up share capital 50 lakhs, security premium is 60 lakhs, general reserve 40 lakhs, accumulated balance of premium 75 lakhs, investment fluctuation is of 30 lakhs. How much loan this company can give to any body corporate without passing special resolution? So somebody will like to answer. So company can give loan of about 60% of paid up share capital was 50 lakh, security premium was 60 lakh plus free reserves. So in free reserve we have general reserve and accumulated balance of profit and loss account. Investment fluctuation reserve is specific reserve, so it is not a free reserve. It will not come under free reserve, so it will not be taken into account. Or 100 free reserves, general reserve 40 lakh plus accumulated balance of profit and loss account 75 lakhs. So whichever is higher. So the answer was 135 lakhs. So such company can give a loan of 135 lakhs or can provide guarantee or security on a loan of 135 lakhs only, or can acquire shares of another company of 130 up to 135 lakhs rupees only. But there is an exception. If these limits can be exceeded when a special resolution is passed in a general meeting, and we need to and if a limit exceeds, then we need to disclose the full particulars of this loan in financial statements. We need to give a note of this in financial statements, like to whom we have given such loan and what is the purpose of loan and what is the rate, what is the tenure of the loan, what is the amount of the loan. So we need to give a note in financial statement that we have given a loan to this company at this interest rate for this tenure of how much amount to be given. So this is the draft of special resolution which we need to pass for exceeding our limits. Then we need to tell us what are the that these are the limits 60% and 100% of share capital freeze whichever is more. So we need to write what is this amount of metal the amount which we have to give. So here we have to give a we are giving the loan like in our previous example we were giving we can give 135 but we suppose we want to give a 200 lakhs loan, so we can give by passing this special loan. We have to write here 200 lakhs and in words here also, and it will state that as per section 25 loan cannot exceed such limits, but if a special resolution is passed, then it can limit exceed limits. It shall also be accompanied by an explanatory statement in which we need to state what is the purpose of loan, what is the amount of loan, and basically all the details of the loan. that we are giving. So, and the party to whom the loan is given. So here, loan to wholly owned subsidiary. It is an exception to section 186 that a company can give loan to its wholly owned subsidiary in exceed that limits. There's 60%, 100% limits for there. But in case of wholly owned subsidiary, these limits does not apply. But here we disclose. We need to give a disclosure of full particulars and the purpose of the loan in the financial statements. If the loan is given to wholly owned subsidiary, of whichever amount is given. Approval requirements. So for giving any loan to any loan by if a company gives a loan to any other person or company, then they requires board approval. Board meetings must sanction investments with all directors consent who are present at that meeting. So board resolution must be passed for giving loan or providing guarantee of security of such loan. So here is the draft of the board resolution which shall be passed. Like here it is written that investment in subsidiaries and other body corporates or giving loan or giving guarantees to such body corporates. So such a resolution will be passed. And it will come name directors, DIN. There is also a requirement of public financial institution. So if there is a loan, term of subsidy, and if a company is giving a loan to any company, which is exceeding the limits of 60% and 100%, then it will require prior approval of the public financial institution from whom such loan is taken. Like a company has taken a loan and it is it has and he has done no default in its repayment. But the company is giving loan in exceed of their limits. Then it needs to take the prior approval of such financial institution. Yeah, interest rate and default. So a company giving loan to any other company or person shall have interest rate which is not lower than government security. Like in section 112, we have seen here the same condition. Like we have given loan for 5 years or 6 years, then its the interest rate should be equal to government security yield for 6 years, 5 years, closest to the 10 of the loan. But there are certain restrictions. If the company who has taken before the commencement of the act or after the act and has default in the repayment of deposits or any interest thereon, cannot give loan, guarantee, or cannot subscribe to any shares of the company if such default exists. It's a company which has taken deposits but has done default in repayments of deposits or in repayment of its interest, then it cannot give loan to any other company or cannot provide guarantee or securities even within limits. It cannot provide. Register and inspection rights. The company need to maintain register of loans and investments, security given, guarantee given, and the acquisitions made at register office in form NVP2. So here's the register. It will come nature of transaction, whether it is a loan, guarantee, security, or acquisition. Date of making loan, acquisition, guarantee, or providing security. Name and address of the person or body corporate to whom it is made or given, or both securities have been acquired, whether listed entity or unlisted entity. What is the amount of loan, security, time period, what is the tenure of the loan, or what is the tenure of the guarantee or security. Purpose for which the loan is going to be utilized. Percentage of loan acquisition exposure provided to paid up share capital, free reserves, and security claim account, and percentage of free reserves and security claim account. Date of passing board resolution, date of passing special resolution if required. If we have exceeded limits, then we have to pass special resolution. So here it will come special resolution date. For loans, we have to know tell us about what is the rate of interest and what is the date of maturity of the loan. And for acquisitions, like we have acquired or subscribed to securities of any other company, then we have also to check that what is the number and kind of securities, what kind of securities we have acquired, like what are like we have acquired preference shares or equity shares, nominal value and paid up value, cost of acquisition, and how much amount we have acquired the security, date of selling of investment. If we have sold, what is the date and what is the selling price? Signature and remarks. Of signature will be done by managing director or secretary or full-time director or any director. The members also has inspection rights. So members can inspect such register and can like extract or can copy information with some prescribed fees. Such prescribed fees is shall not be not more than 10 rupees per page. Now there are certain exemptions to section 186. Banking and insurance companies, loans and investments made by banking company, insurance company, including housing finance companies in their ordinary course of business are exempt from this section. Investment companies, loans, investments made by investment companies and NBFCs. Course principal business is the making investments or acquisition of share in ordinary course are also exempt. Right issue. Investment in shares allotted right issue. Like a company uh, that company has the shares of some other company, and that other company has made a right issue and has made an offer, and the company want to subscribe for that offer. That can subscribe even if it is above the limits of 60% and 100%. That can also subscribe it. It is an exception to section 186. So now here come penalties for section not complying with section 186, like giving loan or guarantee without exceeding the limits and without passing special resolution, or with passing special resolution, but not complying with the condition that the loan should be utilized for these principal business activities and giving loan which is below the interest rate of a government security. So if these cases are there and any other contravention is there, then the penalty is the company may face a fine of 25,000 to 5 lakhs for contravention and officer in default, and face imprisonment for term up to 2 years and fines of 25,000 to 5 lakh for such defaults. Thank you, everyone.
In 186 here, एक बार slides वापस. So firstly, section 186 allows for giving of loan, making investments, providing of securities. Investment is allowed in security. So any of the company making investment or in accounting term, if a company is holding FDs with the bank, whether this would be termed as investment in terms of section 186. Investment options are I'm making investment in FDs, in mutual funds, in shares, stock market. So if any corporate is holding its cash in the form of FD, do I need to make compliance of section 186? Why? Because this is not investment in security. Now, second question is whether investment in mutual fund falls under section 186. Yes. नो का basis क्या है और yes basis क्या है? Mutual funds are sort of securities.
investing in a company directly. Money decline करता है आप company की shares को invest नहीं कर सकते.
Yes.
They are investing in the units of history.
So there are two types of mutual funds. First one, like in MCA notifications, it is allowed that units of UTI mutual funds, these are the direct investments into corporates. So these are covered under section 186. Other than that, none of the mutual fund is covered in the section 186. Now, एक basic सवाल सबके दिमाग में आता है कि 185 कैसा है, you cannot advance loan to director, and 186 says that loan can be advanced to any person. Person includes director. तो ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? एक सेक्शन बना कर एक सेक्शन अलाउ कर रहा है.
185 में लिखा हुआ without any prejudice to any section contained in this
Yes.
chapter.
So 186, although 186 allow to advance loan in favor of any person, but we need to take care of section 185. We cannot advance loan to director, subject to exemptions. Now, what are the important aspects while checking compliance of section 186? First one is the limit, 60% of 60% and 100% as the case may be. Second one is that you cannot advance loan which is interest free. You need to charge interest, and the rate of interest should be over and above or equivalent to the government securities. Now, there is also a condition that loan can be advanced in favor of employees of the company, and there is no need to charge interest. Loan in favor of employees may be given interest free. Okay. And एक बार register specialist. If you will go through the format of the register, you will find that each and every transaction should be entered in the register, because the requirement is nature of transaction, date of making loan, acquisition, providing guarantee, providing security, amount of loan. In case we are making very frequent transactions, like दिन में 50 बार लोन दिया, 50 बार रीपे हुआ, so each and every transaction should be entered, and entry should be in the chronological manner. Any missing out of entry in the register will be facing the same penalty amount, which is equal to the grant of loan exceeding the limit.
So कारों के अंदर 186 की भी नॉन कंप्लायंस की बात आ रही है ना.
Yes.
So
And maintenance of register की बात.
रजिस्टर की भी बात आ रही है.
तो जनरली कंपनीज क्या करती है, अगर आप लोग एक एक वाउचर चेक करते हैं, सारी एंट्रीज चेक करते हैं, तो उसको रजिस्टर से भी कि whether register is properly maintained or not.
तो अगर रजिस्टर मेंटेन नहीं है, that means it is a
Non-compliance of
non-compliance of 186.
186. और रजिस्टर मेंटेन होना एक अलग बात है, रजिस्टर प्रॉपरली मेंटेन होना एक अलग बात
That means if suppose all entries are not there
है.
in
Yes,
that register, so it is a
that
non-compliance.
is a no. So please ensure that every transaction should be entered in the register, and that too in a chronological manner. In case of investment, not only entry for acquisition is required, but also selling of investment shall be entered. Date of selling of investment, selling price, signature and remarks.
तो मुझे ये बताइए कि कितने लोग जो है वो 186 में ये जो रजिस्टर मेंटेन होता है, किन किन लोगों ने अभी कंपनी ऑडिट कर लिया? किसी ने नहीं किया है. ये तो कमाल हो गया है. तो ये रजिस्टर आपने मांगा या नहीं मांगा? अगर उसमें इस तरह की कोई इन्वेस्टमेंट्स किए हुए हैं, तो हैव यू आस्क्ड फॉर द रजिस्टर और नॉट? नहीं पूछे. तो ये अब अपने को ध्यान रखना है कि ऐसा नहीं कि साहब केवल 185 में या 186 में कवर तो कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, या हो रहा है तो दैट इज इन अकॉर्डेंस विद 186, बट एट द सेम टाइम maintenance of register, whatever transactions recorded over that in that register and the transactions which are recorded in your books of accounts are reconciled with each other or not, ये भी आपको देखना है. और अगर नहीं है रजिस्टर मेंटेन, तो आप अपना ऑब्जर्वेशन डिस्कस करिए विद द रेस्पेक्टिव सीनियर. तो नेक्स्ट स्पीकर, इसका कैसा रहा प्रेजेंटेशन? विराट कोहली जैसा या राहुल द्रविड़ जैसा है? सहवाग जैसा नाम आ रहा ना विराट कोहली
Hello, good afternoon, guys. Now I will continue the presentation with next chapter of.
ये इसकी पिक्चर एआई से बना ली क्या तुमने
So picture यही से enhance हुई है.
मैं उनकी पिक्चर
नहीं सर.
नहीं कंटिन्यू कोई बात नहीं मजाक चलती रहनी चाहिए नहीं तो ये सब बोर हो जाएंगे उनके लिए बोल रहा हूँ
So we will see how the private companies will accept, how the private companies can accept deposits from the members. Let's first understand what is deposits. As per section 231, a deposit includes any receipt of money by way of deposit, loan, or any other form by a company excluding prescribed categories. तो अपने को कंपनी को कोई भी पैसा वगैरह ऐसा मिलता है तो वो डिपॉजिट्स माना जाएगा अगर लोन और ऐसे मिलता है तो फिर इसके फीचर्स एक तो टाइम बाउंड रीपेमेंट होता है अनलिमिटेड टाइम तक इसको होल्ड नहीं कर सकते फिर ये सिक्योर्ड भी हो सकता है अनसिक्योर्ड भी हो सकता है फिर अपन इसमें जॉइंट भी मतलब एक साथ 2-3 लोग भी एक डिपॉजिट कर सकते हैं और नॉमिनेट भी कर सकते हैं फिर एक्सेप्टेंस प्राइवेट कंपनी से मेंबर से ले सकती है और पब्लिक कंपनीज फ्रॉम मेंबर्स एंड पब्लिक now what are excluded from the deposits as per rule 21C of the company's acceptance of deposits rule 2014 specific categories of amount are not considered as deposits these are first government sources if any amount is received from central or state government or any guarantees received, then it is excluded from deposits. Then next, any amount received from financial institutions or from banks, it is also exempted from deposits. Next, any company, any amount received by a company from any other company, known as intercompany deposit. ये अपना लोन जैसे ही हो जाएगा बट 185 जैसा 186 जैसा तो इंटरकंपनी डिपॉजिट वहां से भी एक्सक्लूडेड है और यहाँ से भी एक्सक्लूडेड है नेक्स्ट फॉरेन रिसीट्स इफ एनी अमाउंट इज रिसीव्ड बाय द कंपनी एज पर फेमा रूल्स एंड कंप्लाइड विद फेमा देन इट इज आल्सो एक्सक्लूडेड फ्रॉम डिपॉजिट्स इसमें इंडियन बैंक्स में रीजनल रूरल बैंक्स और सब्सिडरी बैंक्स भी आते हैं और जो ये पहले कवर हो गया नेक्स्ट कमर्शियल पेपर तो कमर्शियल पेपर अपना अनसिक्योर्ड शॉर्ट टर्म डेट इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स होते हैं अगर शॉर्ट टर्म नीड है कंपनी को वर्किंग कैपिटल नीड्स वगैरह तो उसके लिए कमर्शियल पेपर से ये कैपिटल नीड्स को मीट कर सकती है कंपनी तो अगर कमर्शियल पेपर से कंपनी को मिलेगा तो वो भी एग्जेम्प्टेड रहेगा डिपॉजिट से देन कॉर्पोरेट बॉन्ड्स एंड डिबेंचर्स अगर सिक्योर्ड है बॉन्ड्स एंड डिबेंचर्स इफ इट्स सिक्योर्ड अगेंस्ट चार्ज ऑन असेट्स ऑन टैंजिबल असेट्स देन इट इज एग्जेम्प्टेड इफ इनटैंजिबल असेट्स एज क्रिएटेड if intangible assets are as created as charge, then it is not. It will be a deposit. And last, convertible debentures. If convertible debentures are converted into equity shares within a period of 10 years, then it is also exempted from deposits. Then NCDs and market listing. If NCDs convert into company equity. Financial for company when not constituting a charge and listed on recognized stock exchange. ये वाला का पॉइंट है कि अगर अपना वहां तो कन्वर्ट नहीं हो रही जैसे अपना 10 साल वाला तो उधर कवर्ड हो गया बट अगर वो कन्वर्ट नहीं होगी तो अपना अगर वो लिस्टेड है और सेबी की कंप्लायंस वगैरह उसको फुलफिल कर रही है तो फिर अपना वो भी डिपॉजिट्स नहीं माना जाएगा नेक्स्ट एम्प्लॉय सिक्योरिटी डिपॉजिट्स company may require employee to deposit non-interest bearing sums, not exceeding their annual salary as a form of security. Support compliance and aligned with legal assurance framework. If a company accepts if a company accepts from employee or more than amount more than his annual salary, then it will be a deposit. Example, अब जैसे 2 लाख रिसीव बाय राधे यंस लिमिटेड फ्रॉम इट्स एम्प्लॉई तरुण, अब उसकी एनुअल सैलरी 1.5 लाख है, तो इंटरेस्ट बेयरिंग सिक्योरिटी डिपॉजिट 3 डिपॉजिट होगा या नहीं होगा? डिपॉजिट है. नेक्स्ट, डायरेक्टेड लिंक फाइनेंशियल ट्रांजैक्शंस. अब एनी अमाउंट रिसीव फ्रॉम अ पर्सन हु एट द टाइम ऑफ रिसीप्ट of amount was a director or relative of a director of a private company, तो वो अमाउंट भी अपना एक्सक्लूडेड है फ्रॉम डिपॉजिट्स. अब उसमें डिक्लेरेशन देना पड़ेगा वो उस डायरेक्टर को कि एक तो उसके ओन फंड से है और दूसरा वो बोर्ड रिपोर्ट में डिस्क्लोज भी करना पड़ेगा कंपनी को, तब जाके पूरा कंप्लाई होगा डिपॉजिट्स का. अगर ये नहीं किया तो फिर डिपॉजिट्स में आ जाएगा. नेक्स्ट, एडवांस पेमेंट फॉर गुड्स एंड सर्विस. ये जो आपने ऑडिट्स वगैरह किए उसमें ये चेक तो किया ही होगा. इसमें ये होता है कि अगर if an advance is received by a company for a period of more than 365 days and it is not appropriated against goods and services, then it will be a deposit. It will be termed as deposit. और अगर इसमें 365 डेज में अगर अपना कोई केस वगैरह चल रहा है तो वो वाला पीरियड एक्सक्लूड हो जाएगा 365 डेज की कैलकुलेशन. The exemption for advance payment. If an advance payment is received, is given for immovable, is received for an immovable property as per the terms of agreement, then also it will not be considered as deposit, as it is mentioned in specifically here. Capital goods and long-term projects. अब जैसे लॉन्ग टर्म प्रोजेक्ट्स होते हैं तो उसमें बहुत सारे कैपिटल गुड्स वगैरह लगते हैं. उसके लिए अगर अपने को किसी ने एडवांस वगैरह दिया और वो एज पर रेगुलेटरी कंप्लायंस वगैरह इन सब से फॉलो हो रहा है तो वो भी डिपॉजिट से नहीं होगा. जैसे अपन कोई क्रेन्स वगैरह और इसका अपन ने एडवांस दिया, किसी कोई क्रेन्स लग रही है तो इसका एडवांस दिया तो वो भी डिपॉजिट नहीं माना जाएगा क्योंकि अपने वो प्रोजेक्ट में आ जाएगा. है सेक्टर स्पेसिफिक एडवांसेस एंड रेगुलेशंस. तो इसमें अगर अपना सीजी की कुछ स्पेसिफिक सेक्टोरल रेगुलेशंस वगैरह होती है तो अगर ये भी वही है कि इसको सेक्टोरल रेगुलेशंस से फॉलो होते होते कंपनी को मिला और उसने कंप्लाई कर लिया, लीगल कंप्लायंस वगैरह ये सब फॉलो कर ली, तो फिर वो भी डिपॉजिट्स नहीं माना जाएगा. सेक्टोरल रेगुलेटर उसके एक्ट्स बने हुए हैं, उसको कवर नहीं है, उसका एक एक्ट अलग है.
जैसे एनबीएफसी रेल कवर
चिट फंड वगैरह और उनके 2-3 वर्ष चलता है. Startup financing through convertible notes. What is convertible notes? Convertible note is an instrument which will be converted into potential equity shares or repayable within a period not exceeding 10 years from the date of issue. And these are issued by the company for meeting its startup requirements or working capital needs. तो अब इसमें ये सब पॉइंट होता है कि अगर इन्वेस्टमेंट 25 लाख से 25 लाख से अपने को सिंगल ट्रांजैक्शन में मिला थ्रू दीज कन्वर्टेबल नोट्स तो अपना डिपॉजिट्स हो जाएगा. अगर अपना अगर 25 लाख से ऊपर मिला अपने को सिंगल ट्रांजैक्शन में तो नहीं मिलेगा. अगर मान लो कि 10 मिला और फिर 20 मिला तो नहीं होगा. अच्छा सॉरी मैं उल्टा बोल रहा हूँ. 25 लाख अगर अपने को एक बार मिलेगा तो डिपॉजिट्स नहीं होगा. अगर अपने को अलग अलग मिला 10 और 20 तो फिर अपना डिपॉजिट्स हो जाएगा. उसमें सिंगल ट्रांस में मिलना चाहिए 25 लाख, तब फिर अपना डिपॉजिट्स नहीं होगा या उसके ऊपर. नेक्स्ट वी मूव टू डिफाइन डिपॉजिटर. तो डिपॉजिटर क्या होता है? Depositor is any member of a company who has made deposit or any person who has deposited money with a public company in accordance with these provisions of the Companies Act. Member depositor, members of private or public companies who have deposited money, public an individual or entity that has deposited money with a public company. तो ये लोग depositor होते हैं. अब next, how the company can accept deposits from members. डिपॉजिट्स के प्रोविजंस फॉलो करने के लिए अपने को सबसे फर्स्ट चीज है कि अपने को रिजोल्यूशन पास करना पड़ेगा जनरल मीटिंग में और ऑब्टेन अप्रूवल फ्रॉम इट्स मेंबर्स देन इशुएंस ऑफ सर्कुलर. अब इशुएंस ऑफ सर्कुलर अपना डीपीडी 1 में होते हैं कि कंपनी अगर डिपॉजिट एक्सेप्ट करना चाहती है तो डीपीडी 1 में वो पहले अपना न्यूज़पेपर वगैरह ऑफिशियल गजेट्स वगैरह में सर्कुलर दे दी कि हम डिपॉजिट्स एक्सेप्ट करना चाहते हैं. और इसका फॉर्मेट खोलो. जैसे अभी ये कंपनी है कोडूम जी पेपर प्रोडक्ट्स लिमिटेड. ये डिपॉजिट्स एक्सेप्ट करने के लिए इसने सर्कुलर दिया था अपना ऑफिशियल गजेट. तो अब जैसे ये यहाँ पे डेट ऑफ इनकॉर्पोरेशन, कंपनी की डिटेल्स, कंपनी क्या करती है, ये सब बताना पड़ता है अपने कंपनी को. ये डायरेक्टर डेट वगैरह, ये डायरेक्टर्स आ गए. फिर कोई सैचुरेटरी ड्यूज वगैरह तो नहीं बची, डिवेंचर्स का इंटरेस्ट वगैरह कुछ भी अगर आउटस्टैंडिंग हुआ तो कंपनी को बताना पड़ेगा. फिर बोर्ड रेजोल्यूशन की लास्ट डेट, इनविटेशन वगैरह, टाइप ऑफ डिपॉजिट्स, सिक्योर्ड है अनसिक्योर्ड है, ये सब कंपनी को बताना पड़ेगा. फिर मेच्योरिटी कितने टर्म के लिए हम डिपॉजिट एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं, ये सब कुछ अपना डीपीटी 1 एज जो सर्कुलर जो अपना पेपर न्यूज़पेपर्स वगैरह जो अपना पब्लिश करेगी कंपनी उसमें आएगा ये सब. और ये क्रेडिट रेटिंग भी है. क्रेडिट रेटिंग लेनी पड़ती है, ये आगे अभी कवर होगा. क्रेडिट रेटिंग भी लेनी पड़ती है कंपनी को डिपॉजिट्स एक्सेप्ट करने से पहले. ये समरी है उनके फाइनेंशियल्स वगैरह की, तो ये सब कंपनी को देना पड़ता है. नेक्स्ट, अब सर्कुलर कब तक वैलिड रहेगा. सर्कुलर कब तक वैलिड रहेगा, तो इसके लिए अपने को 2 पॉइंट्स हैं कि एक तो 6 months फ्रॉम द एंड ऑफ फाइनेंशियल ईयर, दैट इज 30th September, और द डेट ऑफ EGM, whichever is earlier. If the date of EGM is around 31st July and the 6 months end is 30th September, then whichever is earlier, तो 31st July अपना सर्कुलर की लास्ट डेट देंगे. अब इसमें एक और पॉइंट है कि अपने को एक तो ये रजिस्ट्रार के पास इशू करना पड़ेगा. इशू करने के पहले मतलब अपन डिपॉजिट एक्सेप्ट करना चाहते हैं तो उसके 30 दिन पहले ये अपने को सर्कुलर जो न्यूज़पेपर में इशू होगा वो रजिस्ट्रार को भी फाइल करना पड़ेगा विद इन 30 days. Next, a credit rating and security for depositors. So first, before issuing after issuing circular, the company should go for credit rating. Credit rating companies are in the market, and the company should get a credit rating from it of its own, so that it is also disclosed. कि credit rating जैसे अभी वो DPD में देखा है.
ये अगर मान लीजिए कारों में भी इसमें से भी कोई नॉन कॉम्प्लायंस है
उसको भी माना प्रोटेक्टेड ग्रुप का लगा.
और सब देखिए
ये वाला.
Firstly, will bifurcate the compliance of deposits for private company and public company. In case of private company, private companies are not eligible companies. So private companies cannot accept deposits from public. 73 to 76 जो sections हैं, they deal with the deposits by public. And all these requirements that we are going through as of now are applicable in case of public limited companies. In case of private limited companies, only special resolution are passed कीजिए. And there is a limit of 100% of paid up capital and reserves, which is allowed in case of members. Now the question arises that how to check whether a company is accepting deposits or not. So here the definition of deposits is given in Rule 2, Sub-Rule 1, Clause C of acceptance of deposit rules. जो अभी डिटेल में हमने डिस्कस किया, टाइप्स ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शंस नॉट फॉलिंग अंडर द डेफिनेशन ऑफ डिपॉजिट्स. So how to check compliances in case of private companies? Deposits cannot be accepted except members. Now, जो छोटे private groups होते हैं, we used to see transactions on a routine basis, just like current account. कि दिन में 100 transactions हो रहे हैं लोगों के. I'm taking loan from my shareholder, which is who is also a director or its relative. So in case the transaction falls under the director and the relative of director, it should not be from the borrowed fund. It should be from the own fund, subject to submission of declaration in writing on each time of transactions. It is not like I have given you declaration for the whole financial year, that I am going to give you up to so and so limit of loan. It is not the correct compliance. The compliance requires that the declaration should be submitted by director at the time of giving loan to that company. आप अगर दिन में 10 ट्रांजेक्शन कर रहे हो तो 10 डिक्लेरेशन आएंगे. अगर 50 ट्रांजेक्शन कर रहे हो तो 50 डिक्लेरेशन आएंगे. At the time of making loan, at the time of giving loan to company, that declaration should be obtained from the director that the loan so given is not the borrowed fund, it is my own fund. In Caro, I think we are discussing for private limited companies. So we would rarely find a company accepting deposits in case it is a private limited company. But we need to identify transactions that कहीं किसी कंपनी से डिपॉजिट्स तो एक्सेप्ट नहीं हुए हैं. Like any advance is lying with the company for more than 365 days. Any advance treated as security deposit, whether it belongs to the capital advance or not. Director giving loan to that company is not from his own fund, it is the borrowed fund. So we need to check and then accordingly we'll report to the CARO.
But suppose in case of public companies also, any such non-compliance related to not taking the credit risk, credit rating is there, then that is put in Lena.
Okay. The next requirement is deposit repayment reserve. The company must maintain a separate bank account designated as deposit repayment reserve. और minimum deposits में होना चाहिए at least 20% of the deposits जो mature हो रहे हैं in the following financial year. अब इसका purpose अपना इसी deposits repayment के लिए ही use होना चाहिए पैसा. अगर उसके otherwise use किया तो deposits वगैरह उसमें आ जाएगा. Next, certification and security.
पैसा उस रिजर्व अकाउंट में जमा कराना पड़ता है आपको 20%.
The next, certificate and security for deposits. Certificate first, company should give us no default certificate. That is, that it has not defaulted in any repayment of deposits or interest payment in past or present. Then security. Company has the option to provide security for deposits, which can be in the form of assets or other financial instruments, except intangible assets. Intangible में क्या तो वहाँ कवर हो जाएगा. अब हाँ अनसिक्योर्ड डिपॉजिट्स में अगर अपन ने हाफ पोर्शन पे सिक्योर्ड किया और हाफ नहीं किया तो भी वो अनसिक्योर्ड ही रहेगा जब तक अपन पूरा सिक्योरिटी नहीं देंगे तब तक वो सिक्योर नहीं रहेगा। और चार्ज अपने को असेट्स करना, चार्ज ऑन असेट्स के वो जो एज पर कंपनीज एक्ट है उसके हिसाब से अपने को चार्ज भी पेड करना पड़ेगा उन असेट्स पे। नेक्स्ट, एग्जेम्पशन टू सर्टेन प्राइवेट कंपनीज। अब अपन ने ये जो पिछले 4-5 स्लाइड्स देखी, क्रेडिट रेटिंग, सर्कुलर इशू, मीटिंग रिजोल्यूशन पास वगैरह, ये उन प्राइवेट कंपनीज पे नहीं लगेगी अगर वो एक्सेप्ट करती नॉट मोर देन 100% ऑफ एग्रीगेट पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल, फ्री रिजर्व्स एंड सिक्योरिटी प्रीमियम। अगर वो इतना डिपॉजिट एक्सेप्ट करती है लेस देन 100 तो ओके है। फिर नेक्स्ट, वो स्टार्टअप है फॉर 5 years फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ इट्स इनकॉर्पोरेशन। अब स्टार्टअप क्या होता है कि अपना न्यू उसमें आ जाए और स्टार्टअप का एक एक्ट बना, स्टार्टअप एज पर गवर्नमेंट है वो, उसको स्टार्टअप का वो मिला हुआ सर्टिफिकेट, तब वो स्टार्टअप की डेफिनेशन में आएगा। अब उसके नेक्स्ट ईयर से अगर अपनी इन 3 कंडीशन में भी आ गया तो भी वो उसको पुरानी वाली कंडीशन फॉलो करनी है जरूरी। फर्स्ट, इट इज नॉट एन एसोसिएट और सब्सिडरी। सेकंड, borrowings from banks or financial institutions or any body corporate is less than twice of its paid up share capital of 50 crore rupees, whichever is lower. तो अगर उसकी इस वाली कंडीशन में आ गया 50 करोड़ और लेस देन ट्वाइस तो भी वो डिपॉजिट्स ये कंडीशन एग्जेम्प्ट हो जाएगा वो। And last, such a company has not defaulted in repayment of such borrowing subsisting at the time of accepting deposits. मतलब रीपेमेंट के टाइम पे इसके जो पहले डिपॉजिट एक्सेप्ट है उनका रीपेमेंट बिल्कुल टाइमली होना चाहिए, तो भी वो एग्जाम्प हो जाएगा इस सेक्शन के अंदर। नेक्स्ट, रीपेमेंट ऑफ डिपॉजिट्स एंड एनसीएलटीज रोल। इफ एनी डिपॉजिटर फील दैट ही इज नॉट is not being repaid, so the depositor can approach to NCLT for further inquiry and for relief. And NCLT can order to the company to repay the deposits with interest and compensate the depositor for losses or any issue, any other appropriate order. Next, tenure of deposits. So the minimum the deposits can be accepted is for 6 months and maximum 36 months. But इसमें भी एक एक्सेप्शन है कि अगर अपना लेस देन 10% ऑफ एग्रीगेट पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल है और वो लेस देन 10% है और वो डिपॉजिट्स मिनिमम 3 महीने के लिए तो हो सकता है। तो अपना अगर देखें तो 10% ऑफ एग्रीगेट पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल तक है तो 3 मंथ्स तक हो सकता है मिनिमम। 3 महीने के नीचे 3 मंथ्स के नीचे नहीं जा सकता वो डिपॉजिट्स। तो अपना मिनिमम टेन्योर ये 6 months, in specific cases 3 months, otherwise and maximum is 36 months. Next, ये एग्जांपल है कि if a member deposits 1 lakh on 1st April, the earliest repayment would be 30th September. That is 6 months from the 1st April, and the latest would be 31st March 25. That is maximum tenure. Then maximum deposit limit from members. Companies can accept maximum up to 35%, 35% of paid up share capital, free reserves, and SPR of the company's financials. तो ये मैक्सिमम लिमिट है अपनी 35%, बट इसके भी कुछ एक्सेप्शंस हैं। अब अपने वही यहाँ पे बस यहाँ पे 2 चेंज है। एक तो स्टार्टअप वहाँ पे 5 years था, यहाँ पे 10 years है। और ये वाली जो कंडीशंस है इसमें एसोसिएट और सब्सिडियरी एज इट इज सेम है। The borrowing of such company from banks, body corporate is less than twice of its paid up or 50 crore, whichever is less, or has not defaulted in repayment of such borrowings at the time of accepting deposits. तो अगर इनमें एक्सेप्शन आ गया तो ये मैक्सिमम लिमिट 35% लगी, ऊपर भी एक्सेप्ट कर सकते हो। Trustee for depositors. This is next part. A deposit trust deed should also be executed at least 7 days before the circular advertisement for deposits is issued. अब deposit trust deed का फॉर्म होता है DPT2. नीचे हाइपर लीजिए। अब ये DPT2 का फॉर्मेट है। इसमें अपन को ये बताना पड़ता है कि में क्या क्या हो रहा है, फिर डिपॉजिट ट्रस्टी की वगैरह की चार्ज क्रिएशन जो हुआ, डिपॉजिट इंश्योरेंस वगैरह। ये डिपॉजिट ट्रस्टी अगर जो अपने अपॉइंट है उनकी पूरी डिटेल्स आएगी, कंफर्म बाय रिजोल्यूशन पास बाय बीओडी रिमूवल अगर हुआ है तो वो भी सब आएगा अपने इधर, और ये अपना एफिशिएंट मैनर में होगा और ये अपना कैरी फॉरवर्ड प्रोटेक्ट होगा ये सब। और and the company must disclose the trustee consent in deposit advertisement also. जो सर्कुलर जो इशू किया अपन ने उसमें डिपॉजिट ट्रस्टी भी अपने उसके भी नाम डिस्क्लोज होते हैं। अब डिपॉजिट ट्रस्टी, अब वो डिपॉजिट ट्रस्टी अब इसमें क्या है कि जैसे अपना एटलीस्ट 1/10 ऑफ डिपॉजिटर्स वैल्यू कैन सबमिट अ रिटर्न रिक्वेस्ट टू द ट्रस्टी। तो डिपॉजिटर्स कैन ask for a can request for a meeting if at least 1/10 of the depositors of the total value of outstanding deposits request to him for calling of meeting. So he can call for meeting also. Then the trustee evaluate the requisition and assess the potential impact on depositor interest. If deemed necessary, the trustee calls a meeting of providing them with relevant information facilitating discussions. Next, register of deposits. So the company must maintain a register of deposits for a period of at least 8 years from the date of acceptance of deposits, and it should be kept at its register office and other offices also. Then next, premature repayment. Premature repayment में क्या है कि अपना मान लो कि डिपॉजिट वैसे अपना मैच्योरिटी पीरियड 4 या 5 इयर्स का था, बट डिपॉजिटर को he is demanding money before time. That is 2 years from the date of issue only. Then the premature deposit repayment is allowed after 6 months. Reduction is 1% is allowed. 1% reduction हो जाएगा interest की rate. However, no interest reduction applies if repayment for specific reason like exceeding specific deposit limits or during a declared emergency. अब इसमें जो टाइम जो अपने को गिनना है जितने महीने के लिए अपन इंटरेस्ट देंगे उसमें अगर पूरा ईयर फुल ईयर है तो जो अपन उसको फुल ईयर लेंगे। अब अगर जो पार्ट ऑफ द ईयर बचता है अगर उसमें लेस देन 6 मंथ्स है तो अपन उसको इग्नोर मार देंगे, बट अगर मोर देन 6 है तो उसको अपने को कंसिडर एज फुल ईयर करना पड़ेगा। अब इसका नेक्स्ट एग्जांपल है XYZ is a company that accept deposits from its shareholders and other individuals. और इन्हें also दिया गया कि prematurely subject to 1% reduction, अगर किसी को premature repayment चाहिए तो वो ले सकता है।
चालू है क्या आवाज आ रहा है कोई आ रहा है कभी चल रहा है।
Moving on, a depositor Lakshya deposits 1 lakh with expiry date limited on January 1, 2023. The agreed upon interest rate is 6% per annum. The maturity period is 3 years. That is January 1, 2026. However, on September 1, 2024, Lakshya decides to withdraw his deposit early. How much interest will he receive, and how will the premature withdrawal impact his interest rate? That's it.
सबसे बताओ
As we can see, the maturity was done in around 1 month, 1 year and 9 months. Take it as 2 years because more than 6 months. And the interest rate shall be reduced by 1%. 5% for 2 years at 1 lakh.
Okay, correct. Here is the answer. It will be second last line, 1 lakh at 5% for 2 years as remaining period is more than 6 months. That is January 1, 2024 to September 1, 2024. So interest will be 1 lakh multiplied by 5% multiplied by 2 years. That is 10,000 rupees. Then timely issuance of deposit receipts. Upon accepting a deposit, company are obligated to provide depositors with a formal acknowledgement in the form of deposit receipt. This serves as a legal proof of the deposit and outline its key terms and conditions. The company must issue this receipt within a strict time frame of 21 days from the date of deposit, which it is on which date it is accepted. The 21 day period applies whether the deposit is made in cash, by check, or as a renewal of the existing deposit. Then the content of deposit receipts में क्या होगा? Deposit date, deposit name, interest applicable, interest rate applicable, and maturity dues. फिर उस पे must be signed by the company officer who has been duly authorized by BOD and validating the document's authenticity. And it will be a legal binding agreement between the company and the depositor outlining the terms of the deposit. Next, interest and brokerage limitations on deposits. As per Companies Act, there is no specific rate, but in Companies Act it is written the maximum rate adhered to the ceilings established by the RBI. तो जो RBI ने जो अपनी maximum rate set कर रखी है year wise, उसके हिसाब से अपनी maximum interest rate हो सकती है जो deposits पे वो हो सकती है मतलब provide हो सकती है by companies. Next, meeting reporting obligations and filing deposit returns. Companies are required to periodically submit a comprehensive report detailing their deposit activities to ROC, and these has to be filed known as return of deposits from 30th June of the following year with applicable fees and in form DPT3, which may have audit में check वगैरह भी करते हैं.
तो प्रैक्टिकली जब आप ऑडिट पे जा रहे होते हैं जुलाई और अगस्त में, तो ये डीपीटी 3 ऑलरेडी भी फाइल बाई, तो डीपीटी 3 के जो रिजल्ट्स जो उसमें फिगर्स दिए हुए हैं, यू शुड reconcile with the financial statement of.
Here is the format of DPT3. अब इसमें रिटर्न ऑफ डिपॉजिट्स यहाँ पे CIN आ जाएगा, नेम ऑफ कंपनी आ जाएगा, ईमेल आईडी वगैरह. They propose
DPT 3 is to be filed by every company or every company.
In an clear. So, DPT 3. The purpose of the form is it is to be filed for three purposes. First one is return of deposit. जो अभी हमने डिस्कस किया. Deposit may be accepted by a public company or eligible company or private company from its members. So if any of the company accepting deposits, then you need to file DPT 3 by selecting return of deposit. Second option is particulars of transaction by a company not considered as deposit. It may be applicable for public as well as private. So any company accepting amount which is not considered as deposit, जो अभी हमने discuss किया था, defined under Rule 2 of acceptance of deposit rules, उनकी details will be filed in DPT 3 by selecting second option. And third one is there may be condition that a company is accepting deposit as well as the amount not considered as deposit. In that case, you need to click on third option. Now the question arises that any company not accepting any deposit or there is no transaction which is to be considered as deposit under exempted deposits, then do I need to file DPT 3? So the answer is yes, because the registrar of company is not aware whether you have made transactions or not. Yeah, the transactions that you have entered are exempted deposit, exempted transactions not considered as deposit, or are falling under the definition of deposit. So we need to file DPT 3 in each case, whether the transaction value is nil or you have entered into transactions. And the due date to file this e-form is 30th June. Practically, in case of private companies or non-listed companies, balance sheets, financial statements 30 जून तक रेडी नहीं होते. So, we need to take care while going for audits that what are the figures that have been reported into DPT3 following the compliance by 30th June. Because there should not be any scope of deviation from the amounts already reported to ROC and the preparation of balance sheet. Or we will
अगर जो एडवांसेस अपन को 365 तो जिन एडवांसेस को 365 डेज नहीं हुए हैं वो भी अपने डिपॉजिट्स नहीं हुए बट उनकी भी डिटेल जाएगी। तो अगर हर मोस्टली हर कंपनी में एडवांसेस होता है तो उसका मतलब तो यही हुआ कि हर कंपनी डीबीटी 3 फाइल करती होगी।
आई थिंक रूल 2 वाली जो डेफिनेशन है वो एक बार समराइज्ड फॉर्म में वापस से फिर से गो थ्रू कर लेना चाहिए कि ऐसे कौन से ट्रांजैक्शन है जो कि exempted टू बी ट्रीटेड एज डिपॉजिट्स और जो कि रूटीन कोर्स में हर कंपनी में ये ट्रांजैक्शंस होते हैं। एक बार for this from MCQ. Acceptance of deposit rules. Any advance lying with the company for more than 365 days would be treated as deposits. और I think अभी आपने penalty cover की होगी slide में अपनी। So, on going through the panel provision of deposits, will be understanding that this transaction, these sort of transaction should not be entered into by any of our client or any of our corporate. Firstly, these rules shall apply to company other than a banking company. Banking companies का deposit rules applicable नहीं. Secondly, NBFCs, housing finance companies, companies specified by central government. Central government means MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, may notify that so and so companies are not covered under deposit rules. Now here comes the definition. Rule 2(1)(c). Deposit includes any receipt of money by way of deposit or loan or in any other form. So the definition is very wide. First one is any receipt of money by way of deposit, loan or in any other form. Any other form means any. अगर आपने कुछ भी कंपनी को एडवांस दिया है, अगर आपने मनी किसी भी आउटसाइडर से ली है, तो वो डिपॉजिट्स में फॉल हो सकता है, except but does not include any amount received from central government, state government, whose repayment is guaranteed by central government, state government, or any amount received from a local authority. ये ट्रांजैक्शंस ऐसे हैं रूटीन कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस में आपको हर बैलेंस शीट में मिलेंगे. Any amount received from foreign government, foreign international banks, or any amount received as a loan or facility from any banking company. तो अगर कंपनीज बैंक से लोन ले रही है तो ये क्या नहीं माना जाएगा? डिपॉजिट नहीं होता है. Any amount received as a loan or financial assistance from public financial institutions, any amount received against issue of commercial papers, any amount received by a company from any other company, but LLP is not covered in this. In case any of the companies accepting money from LLP, then it would fall under deposits, subject to condition that it should not be member of the company in case of private. Any amount received and held pursuant to an offer made in accordance with the provisions of the Act. अगर application money receive हो रही है, so the starting of this definition was receipt of money in any form. अगर एप्लीकेशन मनी के फॉर्म में आ रहा है, सब्सक्राइबर से सब्सक्रिप्शन मनी के फॉर्म में आ रहा है, तो भी एक बार हमें ये कंसिडर करना पड़ेगा whether this is deposit or not. Because the condition is without prejudice to any other liability or action. If the securities for which application money or advance for such securities was received and cannot be allotted within 60 days from the date of receipt of application. So at the time of accepting that money, it was an application money, but 60 days से ज़्यादा time आपको allotment का हो गया. Now it would fall under the definition of deposit. Means you have made non-compliance. You have accepted deposits. Any adjustment of amount for any other purpose shall not be treated as refund. Any amount, हाँ ये जो second option है, कई बार क्या होता है जिससे एप्लीकेशन मनी ली जाती है उसका ऑलरेडी फाइनेंशियल ट्रांजेक्शन्स कुछ हमारे चल रहे होते हैं, तो हम क्या करते हैं एडजस्टमेंट कि rather than giving back that application money to so and so person and we have adjusted that amount from the financial transaction already lying with the company's account. So this would not treated as refund. एप्लीकेशन मनी आई है अकाउंट में, एप्लीकेशन मनी एक बार तो वापस आ जाएगी एंड विद इन 60 डेज. अगर बियॉन्ड 60 डेज जाता है तो इट वुड फॉल अंडर डिपॉजिट्स.
Even if it is refunded, it will be treated as violation.
If refunded beyond 60 days,
Yes, suppose beyond 60 days it is refunded.
still it is,
But it is a violation of.
it is a violation. It is a violation. So deposits treat करने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि we have identified deposits. It means we have identified non-compliance. Any amount raised by issue of bond, debenture, secured by first charge, ranking, pari passu. Any amount received from an employee of the company, not exceeding his annual salary under a contract of employment with the company in the nature of non-interest bearing security deposit. आजकल ये ट्रेंड चल रहा है कि at the time of hiring or recruiting an employee, bond sign करवाया जाता है, security deposit लिया जाता है. So any amount received from an employee of a company not exceeding his annual salary under a contract of employment. अगर annual salary से ज्यादा का आपसे security deposit लिया गया, it would fall under the deposit.
50 कौन देगा? Annual salary से ज़्यादा deposit लेंगे.
Any non-interest bearing amount received or held in trust, any amount received in the course for purpose of businesses of the company as an advance for supply of goods. Supply of goods के लिए अगर कोई पैसा आया और 365 days में आपने refund नहीं की है, settle नहीं की है, as advance accounted for in any manner whatsoever received in connection with consideration for property under an agreement, security deposit for performance of contract, and so on. So these are the transactions जो कि deposits treat नहीं किए, लेकिन each and every transaction has its own conditions. Like if you are accepting money from your director as loan, then it should not be borrowed fund. Again, if you are taking advance from your supplier, then it should be adjusted within 365 days. So in each case, the return of deposits with the registrar shall be filed. If there are nil transactions, yes, it will be filed. If there are transactions, then we need to identify the combination whether falling under deposit or under exempted deposits. And since the reporting requirement is relating to the accounting and financial transactions, and the due date is of 30th June, in case of private companies, majority of companies do not prepare balance sheet by 30th June. In case of listed companies, it is possible because of the listing regulations requirement. Within 60 days from end of financial year, they have to approve the balance sheet and report to the exchange.
Moving on. Next, the penal rate of interest. If a deposit is not payment as per the terms of maturity, then the company has to repay the deposits on the due date with a penal interest rate of 18% per annum, calculated on the overdue. And the overdue period will be the entire duration of the delay, starting from the maturity date. Next, punishment for contravention. if a fine up to 5,000 rupees is imposed on the company and any officer responsible for above contravening the above specified provisions. Continuing contravention, additional fine up to 500 rupees per day is levied for each day the violation persists. And consequences, these penalty will be as deterrent and ensure the compliance with deposit rules.
Thank you.
ये वाली दो साइड डिलीट हो गई तो ये वाली चला ले और इसके बाद फिर चेंज फिर उस पे आ गया ठीक है पहले इस पे
प्रेजेंटेशन मेमो ने काफी अच्छा बनाया, बट जितने भी इसने शॉट्स लगाए वो कहाँ लगाए? क्रिकेट खेलता ना तू? या केवल विराट कोहली का फैन है? विराट कोहली सारे रन कवर ड्राइव पे मारता है क्या? है? कहाँ मारता है? लॉन्ग ऑफ पे मारता है, लॉन्ग ऑफ पे मारता है, नहीं मारता? तो तू इधर तो देख ही नहीं रहा था लॉन्ग ऑफ पे। केवल कवर ड्राइव की तरफ देख रहा था। आपको अपना, जब तक आप आई कांटेक्ट नहीं बनाओगे तब तक कैसे काम चलेगा? आप यहाँ, बट प्रेजेंटेशन वाज वेरी गुड और जो कंटेंट थे यू कैन अगेन वाउच वाज गुड। सारा डीपीटी भी लेके आए, 1 2 3 सारे फॉर्म्स लेके आए, बट हाउ इट विल बी एक्सप्लेन टू द ऑडियंस इज इम्पोर्टेंट। आज जब तक मैं आपके सामने ऐसे बात नहीं करूंगा तो आप रिलेट ही नहीं कर पाओगे, ऑडियंस जो है वो रिलेट ही नहीं कर पाएगी कि क्या हो। तो ये हमें थोड़ा इम्प्रूव करना चाहिए। जब यहाँ पे कोई बात कर रहा है तो साथ ही साथ उसी पॉइंट को एक बार इधर सामने देख के एक्सप्लेन कर लो कि ऐसा होता है। एक दो लोगों को उठा भी लो कि भैया क्या होता है बता मुझे, तो क्या है कि दे विल बी अटेंटिव, है ना। तो अब हमारे पास है अर्जुन तेंदुलकर। तो अभी तो अच्छे विकेट लिए उसने। अर्जुन तेंदुलकर कहता है पता
Everybody has different line. ये सोच के प्रेजेंटेशन करता हूँ। So everyone here is deaf and blind. ऐसा सोच के प्रेजेंटेशन स्टार्ट करता हूँ जिससे थोड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस है कि कोई सुन ही नहीं।
राइट वन कर दे।
I will be covering some topics like annual return, financial statements, disclosure of interest by directors, and other topics. So the first is disclosure of interest by directors. So you can see there is form MVP1. So we will be discussing about it, and we will be covering section 184.1, rule 9.1. What is given in section 184.1, and what are the interest by directors? Name of the companies, nature of interest, and why there is written that change in interest and consent should also be disclosed, and date on which interest or consent arise and change. So every director, sorry for the basic language, let's rephrase. Every director shall at the first meeting of the board, मतलब जब वो first time appoint हुआ हो, he participates as a director, and thereafter at the first meeting of board every financial year और हर financial year की पहली board meeting हो. And when there is a change in disclosure already made, अगर पहले से कोई disclosure दिया हुआ है उसमें कोई change आया, जब अपन ने फॉर्म MVP1 में देखा, MVP1 में क्या था कि जो थर्ड कॉलम और फिफ्थ कॉलम था उसमें change in interest and date of change in interest की दिया हुआ है, and that is why here it is written अगर कोई change है तो वो change भी disclose करना पड़ेगा in the form MVP1. And the nature, the interest or consent can be in any firm or body corporate, etc. So
which directors are which directors need to give the disclosure in form MBB1. So where in any body corporate, such director or a director in association of other director hold more than 2% of the shareholding of body corporate, or in any firm or any entity, any firm in which he is a partner, or any entity in which he is a owner, or any entity in which he is a member. In these entities, he need to give disclosure about the nature of contract or any interest, like he is having any contract or any arrangement with the firm or with the entity or any body corporate. And as we have read in the foundation that the contract can be a valid contract, a voidable contract, or a void contract. So the contract arise without giving any such declaration or any disclosure should be void. Should be a voidable contract at the option of company in which such director is having any interest. The penalty for not non-compliance of this act is that the director shall be liable for a penalty of 1 lakh rupees and punishable with a imprisonment for term which may extend to 1 year, or a fine with not less than 50,000 rupees which may extend to 1 lakh rupees. And nothing in this section shall be taken when it is to the prejudice of the operation of any rule or law restricting the director of a company from having any concern or interest in contract. मतलब अगर किसी एंटिटी में वो कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट या कोई रिलेशन रख ही नहीं सकता तो उसमें ये एक्ट एप्लीकेबल नहीं होगा, या फिर किसी एंटिटी में उसकी जो शेयर होल्डिंग है वो लेस देन 2%. So rule 9 of the company's meeting of board and its power rules 2014 specifies that in the form MBB1 he has to give the disclosure. And the content of the notice is that the name of company or body corporate should be mentioned, nature of interest should be mentioned, shareholding of the director should be mentioned, the date on which interest or concern arose should be mentioned, and the place and signature of the managing director. And director will be very So, who can be a director of a company? Who is not disqualified? And who is not who is not disqualified? So, who is disqualified is given into section 164 of the Companies Act. So, 164 of Companies Act specifies 164(1). There are two sections which specify the disqualification. 164(1) states that these are the conditions where he is disqualified. First is he is of unsound mind. He is a discharged insolvent. He has applied to be adjudicated as an insolvent and his application is pending. Convicted by court of any offence and the imprisonment is not less than 6 months and 5 years has not left from the end of that imprisonment. And in order to an order of disqualifying from him for appointment as a director has been passed by the court of the tribunal. Not paid any calls and 6 months has elapsed. Convicted of offence dealing with related party transactions in section 188. Not complied with the subsection 3 of section 152. Section 3 of subsection 152 specifies that the director needs to have then director identification number. और किसी director के पास DIN ही नहीं है तो वो disqualified. And सेक्शन 165(1) में जो कंप्लाई नहीं करना, सेक्शन 165(1) स्पेसिफाई करता है कि वो मैक्सिमम 20 कंपनीज में ही डायरेक्टर हो सकते हैं. एंड 164(2) ये स्पेसिफाई करता है कि कौन डायरेक्टर नहीं हो सकता इफ द कंपनी इन व्हिच ही इज अ डायरेक्टर हैज नॉट फाइल्ड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स ऑफ एनुअल रिटर्न फॉर अ कंटीन्यूअस पीरियड ऑफ 3 फाइनेंशियल ईयर्स और हैज failed to repay the deposits accepted by or paid interest thereon, redeem any debentures, pay interest on debentures, or any dividend declared but not paid for a period of 1 year or more should be disqualified for a period of 5 years. And section 164(3) of Companies Act is specifically for private companies in which a private company through its article provide disqualification for appointment of director as specified in subsection 1 and 2. So, the disqualification referred in D, E, and G of subsection 1. So, the D, E, and G of these this 164(1) section shall continue to apply even if the appeal or petition has been filed in conviction of disqualification. अगर वो डिस्क्वालीफाई हो गया इन 3 सेक्शन में, इन 3 सेक्शन में डिस्क्वालीफाई होने के बाद अगर उसने कोर्ट में अपील फाइल की कि मैं इनमें डिस्क्वालीफाई नहीं हूँ, तो ऐसा नहीं होगा कि अपील फाइल करते ही उसका डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन इनवैलिड हो जाएगा. वो डिस्क्वालीफाइड ही रहेगा जब तक वो प्रूव गिल्टी प्रूव सॉरी इनोसेंट प्रूव नहीं होगा. Or disqualification of director, he has to disclose the same in form DIR8. DIR8 is for intimation of director for disqualification or non-disqualification. Here it is specifically mentioned कि अगर वो disqualified है या नहीं है, दोनों केसेस में उसको DIR8 फाइल करना ही पड़ेगा. And also intimation of companies in which he was a director in last 3 years pursuant to section 164(2) and rule 14(1). So rule 14(1) DIR8 का फॉर्मेट स्पेसिफाई करता है कि वो उसको DIR8 में ही ये डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन या नॉन डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन की डिस्क्लोजर देना पड़ेगा. अब फॉर्म जो फॉर्म रूल 14(1) था उसने सिर्फ सबसेक्शन 1 ऑफ 164 को सबसेक्शन 2 ऑफ 164 को स्पेसिफाई किया था कि 164(2) में अगर वो डिस्क्वालिफाइड है तो भी उसको DIR8 फाइल करना है. बट 20 जनवरी 23 को एक नोटिफिकेशन आया और उस नोटिफिकेशन में स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन किया गया कि 164(1) में भी अगर वो डिस्क्वालिफाइड है तो उसको DIR8 फाइल करना होगा. तो अब 164(1) और 164(2) दोनों में डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन है तो फॉर्म DIR8 फाइल करना पड़ेगा. And this is a format of DIR8 in which the particulars of company, the particular director in which director in the company in which he was a director is mentioned. और वो दोनों चीजें हैं कि अगर वो डिस्क्वालीफाइड नहीं है तो उसकी डिटेल आएगी, और अगर वो डिस्क्वालीफाइड है तो 164(1) में डिस्क्वालीफाइड है या 2 में डिस्क्वालीफाइड है उसकी डिटेल. Now copy of financial statement to be filed with registrar. ये स्पेसिफाई करता है सेक्शन 137 of the Companies Act. So 137 of Companies Act क्या स्टेट करता है that a copy of financial statement including CFS along with all the documents which are required to be filed or attached to this financial statement duly adopted at annual general meeting should be filed within 30 days. 30 दिन के अंदर AGM के बाद वो फाइल हो जानी चाहिए. लेकिन अगर सिर्फ बहुत सारी कंडीशंस है कि अगर AGM भी नहीं हुई तो, या फिर AGM हुई लेकिन उसमें फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स को अडॉप्ट ही नहीं किया गया, तो उसके लिए ये 4 कंडीशंस दी हुई है. सबसे पहले कि अगर फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट अडॉप्ट ही नहीं हुए तो वो रजिस्ट्रार के पास एज अ प्रोविजनल फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स फाइल होंगे, और जब तक वो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट अडॉप्ट नहीं हो जाते तब तक वो प्रोविजनल रहेंगे. उसके बाद जो अडॉप्ट हुए हैं वो अडॉप्टेड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स फाइल हो जाएंगे. Also the financial statement adopted in adjourned annual general meeting, मतलब अगर जनरल मीटिंग नहीं adjourned हुई उसके बाद भी तो उसकी भी विदिन 30 डेज में अपन को फाइल करनी पड़ेगी विद एडिशनल फीस. अगर एक OPC है तो OPC को फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स फाइल करने हैं विदिन 180 डेज, और the company shall along with financial statements attach accounts of its subsidiaries which are incorporated outside India. तो ये जो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स फाइल होते हैं ये फॉर्म AOC 4 में फाइल, और AOC 4 में फाइल होने के लिए इसमें 4 टाइप्स मैंने मेंशन किए हैं. सबसे पहले कि अगर CFS है तो वो AOC 4 CFS में फाइल होगा. अगर किसी कंपनी पे XBRL की रिक्वायरमेंट आती है तो वो इन फॉर्म AOC 4 XBRL में फाइल होगा. NBFC पे कोई रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है, लेकिन अगर कोई NBFC इंडेस में फॉल होती है तो AOC को NBFC इंडेस में एप्लीकेबिलिटी रहेगी. और खासकर छुट्टियां होती है नॉर्मल कंपनीज जो इनके उसमें परव्यू में नहीं आती, नॉर्मल AOC 4 फाइल करती है. तो AOC 4 के 6 सेगमेंट्स जिसमें मैंने ब्रीफ दिया है. जैसे सेगमेंट 1 में बैलेंस शीट की डिस्क्लोजर्स आएंगी कि कंपनी की जनरल इंफॉर्मेशन क्या है, BOD मीटिंग्स की इंफॉर्मेशन जाएगी, बैलेंस शीट आइटम्स और शेयर कैपिटल रेज ड्यूरिंग द पीरियड. सेगमेंट 2 में P&L के आइटम्स है, से प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस के आइटम्स, और जो उसकी जो बिजनेस है बिजनेस की ऐसी कौन सी प्रोडक्ट और प्रिंसिपल प्रोडक्ट और सर्विसेज जिसमें वो डील करती है. सेगमेंट 3 में CSR जो एवरेज नेट प्रॉफिट है लास्ट 3 इयर्स का, कितना CSR उसका एप्लीकेबल बनता है, जैसे 2% ऑफ द एवरेज नेट प्रॉफिट ऑफ लास्ट 3 इयर्स, एंड details of amount spent on CSR. Actually में कितना amount CSR के spent हुआ है. Segment 4 is about related party transaction, which is number of contracts which are not at arm's length price and number of contracts which are at arm's length price. तो arm's length price में जो है भी वो भी disclose होना है और नहीं है वो भी disclose होना है. Auditor's report, if there is a applicability of CAG audit, तो वो भी disclose होनी है. और लास्ट में miscellaneous आता है जिसमें secretarial audit और डायरेक्टर्स में अगर 134(3) में जो डायरेक्टर्स की जो बोर्ड मीटिंग हुई है उसमें जो भी कंटेंट्स थे वो डिस्क्लोज होंगे. The next is annual return, जो कि स्पेसिफाई करता है सेक्शन 92 ऑफ कंपनीज एक्ट. तो सेक्शन 92 में हर कंपनी को अपनी एनुअल रिटर्न बनानी है. उस एनुअल रिटर्न के कुछ कंटेंट्स दिए हुए हैं. जैसे सबसे पहले उसका रजिस्टर्ड ऑफिस क्या, उसका प्रिंसिपल बिजनेस एक्टिविटी क्या है, उसकी शेयर्स और डिबेंचर्स क्या है. एक थर्ड पॉइंट था इट्स इन-डेप्थनेस, कि उसमें जितना भी डेटा है उसकी उसको एक अलग से डिस्क्लोजर देना पड़ता था, बट नाउ इट हैज बीन ओमिटेड. इट्स मेंबर्स एंड डिबेंचर होल्डर्स, प्रमोटर्स, डायरेक्टर्स, केएमपी, मीटिंग्स ऑफ मेंबर्स एंड क्लास thereof, remuneration of directors, penalty and punishment imposed on company, matters relating to certification of compliances. Details have been prescribed on behalf of foreign institute investors and such as other matters as may be prescribed and signed by director and the company secretary. So in case of one person company, OTC and a private company, the annual return shall be signed by company secretary, and when there is no company secretary, by the director of company. The time period is within 60 days from the date of which annual general meeting is held, and when there is no AGM is held, within 60 days from the last date on which AGM should be held. The penalty for the same is that the officers and the company and its every officer shall be liable for a penalty of 10,000 rupees, and in case of continuing failure, with a further penalty of 100 rupees for each day within such failure continues, subject to a maximum of 2 lakh rupees in case of company and 50,000 rupees in case of officer who is in default. तो ऑफिसर और कंपनी दोनों पे डिफॉल्ट में सेम प्रोविजन है स्टार्टिंग में, बट उसकी लिमिट है. तो कंपनी में 2 लाख और ऑफिसर की 50. और अगर कोई कंपनी सेक्रेटरी है उसने सर्टिफाई किया है और जो एनुअल रिपोर्ट है वो कंप्लाइंट नहीं है, तो कंपनी सेक्रेटरी में भी पेनल्टी है अप टू 2 लाख. तो एनुअल रिटर्न है फॉर्म एनजीटी 7 में फाइल होगी. So what is MGT form MGT 7? This is the form which is electronically provided by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. It is maintained by the registrar of companies by electronic mode and on the basis of statement of correctness which is provided by the company. So where to file the form? Every company, whether it is a one-person company or any other company, everyone has to file in the form MGT 7 every year. What is the due date? Due date is within the 60 days from AGM. और AGM होती है within 30 days of. और जो AGM होती है वो 30 सितंबर तक होती है. तो जो MGT 7 फाइल करने की जो ड्यू डेट हुई वो इफेक्टिवली 29 नवंबर आएगी, जब AGM हो जानी चाहिए उससे within 60 days. तो लास्ट डेट भी 29 नवंबर ऑफ एवरी ईयर. तो कंटेंट्स है MGT 7 के which are registration and other details of the company like company identification number and other details like the principal place of business, the name of company, etc. The particulars of HAS, holding associate and subsidiary. Share capital and other securities like what is the share capital, what are the debentures through which the company has raised its funds. Turnover and net worth of the company. Number of promoters and debenture holders. Details of the directors and key AMB, key managerial personnel, meetings, all the meetings which have occurred in the financial year, and the remuneration of directors. Now, here comes the form NGT 14, which is for the.
So till now we have gone through requirement of MVP 1. Disclosure of interest by director. DIR 8, disclosure of disqualification by director. AOC 4 and MGT 7. जब सेक्शन 185 हमने डिस्कस किया, so at that point of time किसी के भी दिमाग में ये सवाल आ सकता है कि how can we identify while advancing loan that so and so person is interested to be our director. Body corporate में 25% shareholding relative of that director. ऐसा कुछ how can we cross check? Because while going on audits, we barely found or have discussions with the directors or promoters. So how can we check? How can we collect the information that who are the relatives and in which entities the director is interested? What is the basis? आपको पता कैसे लगेगा जिसको लोन दिया है वो इंटरेस्टेड है या नहीं?
Declarations from directors.
In the form of
Written representations.
MRLs, management representation letters. So in case I being promoter give you a representation letter, if you need not to undertake any audit and everything is okay. In that case,
Standards of auditing इतना allow करते हैं कि उनसे declarations ले सकते हैं कुछ चीजों पर.
but only in case if the information is not available. And it is practically not possible to take that information in the form of document. So here comes section 182 MVP1. Notice of interest, disclosure of interest by director. एक बार MVP1 का फॉर्मेट ओपन. Yes. Notice of interest by director. Firstly, it is addressed to the board of directors. I, being son president of director in the company, hereby give notice of my interest concerned in the following company or companies, body corporate firms or other association of individuals. In what type of interest I am having? Names of the companies, nature of interest, shareholding, date on which interest concerned arose and changed. तो क्या हम MVP1 के बेसिस पे 185 के ट्रांजैक्शन चेक कर सकते हैं? Any entity interested with the director, complete disclosure will be given in MVP1 because section itself binding the director to give or disclose his interest in other entities. So you need to go through and you need to ask for MVP1 while checking each and every financial transaction. Otherwise आपको लगेगा कि ये जो transactions है वो तो unrelated parties के साथ है. How can you collect a list of interested parties? Basis B and MVP1. Secondly, DIR 8. DIR 8 में जिन companies में मैं directorship hold करता हूँ, whether I am not disqualified or not, it is disclosed in the DIR 8. Even it forms a part of SHAR also. That basis the representation given in DIR 8 as on 31st March, the director is not disqualified. ठीक है, तो ये जो डिक्लेरेशंस है इन MVP1 एंड DIR 8, इनको हम कंप्लायंस को क्रॉस चेक करने के लिए भी यूज कर सकते हैं. कंप्लायंस रिक्वायरमेंट फॉर डायरेक्टर तो है ही. मुझे while participating as director in first meeting, I need to disclose in MVP1. And whenever there is a change in my interest, I need to disclose MVP1. But इसकी नीड क्या है? ये किस काम आएगा कंपनी के? कंपनी को क्यों चाहिए ये? So the need of this disclosure is to check my other applicable provisions. Section 188 related party transactions, 184 other not to participate in a meeting in which the agenda items in which I am interested, or section 185 the applicability and so on. Now the important section जो I think मुझे यहाँ कोट करना चाहिए, section 167. थर्ड हमने देखा AOC 4 AOC को बैलेंस शीट फाइलिंग है ROC के NCA के पोर्टल पे within 30 से within 30 days from the date of AGM and MJT7 within 60 days from the date of AGM. Section 167, vacation of office of director. The office of director shall become vacant in case he incurs any of the disqualifications specified in section 164. अभी जो 164 में disqualifications हमने देखी. So if the director incurs the disqualification as per 164, then he has to vacate his office immediately. He absents himself from all the meeting of board of directors held during a period of 12 months. He acts in contravention of provisions of section 184 relating to entering into contracts or arrangement in which he is directly or indirectly interested. And he fails to disclose his interest in any contract or arrangement in which he is directly or indirectly interested in contravention of section 184. It means अगर MBP में he does not give us the accurate information or discloses his interest, then what are the repercussions? He has to vacate his office from directorship. So section 167 specifically gives power to company to get his office vacated if he is not disclosing the correct particular in the form of MBP1 or he acts in contravention of section 184 or 164. Next.
So we were discussing about form MGT14. So MGT14 is basically for filing of resolutions, that is special resolution, group resolution, or any other agreement. And MGT14 is mandated by two sections, section 94(1) and section 171. Section 94(1) states that registers and annual returns must be kept at the registered office of the company or any other office if more than 1/10 of the members resides there. Contingent on special resolution and prior notification to register मतलब वो दूसरी जगह भी रख सकते हैं अगर कोई special resolution अगर special resolution filed by so it must be filed through MGT14 and section 171 states that copy of every significant resolution agreement along with explanatory statement must be filed with registrar within 30 days of its approval. और कोई भी agreement or कोई भी resolution पास हो तो within 30 days in the form MGT14 फाइल हो जाना चाहिए. So resolutions to be filed are board resolution and board resolution relating to appointment or reappointment and validation in terms of managing director or board resolution under section 179(3). And for in section 179(3) there are many others, but I have covered only the major ones like issuance of securities, drawing monies, investment in funds of the company, grant loan and to provide security or guarantee in respect of proof, which was also covered in sections 164, 169, sorry, 186 and 185. Any special resolution in respect of conditioning the MOA and AOA of the company, variation in shareholder rights, and keeping the registered at any other place which was listed in previous slide, or loans and investment by company exceeding 60% of paid up share capital or free reserve or 100% of free reserve and security premium which was discussed earlier, or any other resolution that is a resolution agreed by all members of the company by all members of by a certain class of members of the company or binding up under section 59 of IDs. These are the resolutions which were to be filed to MGT 14. MGT 14 is, there is a specific applicability of MGT 14 to private companies in which under section 179(3), all the board resolution which was discussed in previous slides need not to be filed through MGT 14 only by the private companies, which is discussed here. Consequently, private company does not need to submit e-form MGT 14 to the ROC, where exercising the board's power as specified under section 179(3). So this is the form MGT 40, which is the link of PDF is given below, but I will be explaining here only that the company's details like SIN number, name, date of passing resolution, number of resolution, and other details. Date regarding the winding up of the company if it is to be winded up under IBC. Attachments like copy of resolution, altered MOA and AOA. If there is special resolution passed for the electricity MOA and AOA. In the copy of agreement which is to be entered by the company, and the declaration by authorized person, liquidator in case of winding up, and certified by a practicing professional. Previously. So, so MSME वन, तो MSME एक बहुत ही widely discussed, बहुत ही trending topic है. MSME वन में जो अपन ने अभी टैक्स ऑडिट्स की या फिर जो अपन कंपनीज ऑडिट करता है उसमें अपन लोग सबसे पहले हम ये देखते हैं कि जो कंपनी से जो MSME वेंडर्स हैं उनको विद इन 45 डेज पेमेंट हो जाना चाहिए. MSME वेंडर को सिर्फ एक ही कंप्लायंस है जो कि बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होती है, और उसी कंप्लायंस के लिए यहाँ पे ये फॉर्म MSME बना है जिसमें ये स्पेसिफाई कर अंडर सेक्शन 405 जो कंपनीज एक्ट, ये सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को पावर देता है कि ये कंपनी से कोई भी ऐसी नेसेसरी इंफॉर्मेशन ले सकती है जो कि स्पेसिफाइड कंपनी से इंफॉर्मेशन ले सकती है जो MSME से रिलेटेड है. और स्पेसिफाइड कंपनीज कौन सी है जो MSME से डीलिंग कर रही है. तो स्पेसिफाइड कंपनी शुड फाइल फॉर्म MSME 1 वेयर पेमेंट्स are due to MSME for more than 45 days. अगर 45 days से ज्यादा MSME की पेमेंट्स ड्यू है इसको फॉर्म MSME 1 भरना पड़ेगा along with the reason for its delay. And the delay, when there is a delay in payment by the company, they must mention the reason of such delay for their in their statements of accounts of. MSME 1 is a half yearly statement. मतलब हर 6 months में एक बार फाइल करना है. For first half, that is from April to September, the last date is October 31, and for second half, that is from October to 1, the last date is April 30. But the company need not to file nil MSME when there is no MSME with the company need not to file MSME. This is the format of MSME 1. Where the details to be reported in MSME 1 are SIN and PAN of the company, name and address and email, name and PAN of suppliers, outstanding amount due against the supplier of goods and services to MSME, due date from which the amount is due, and the reason for delay. Thank you so much. And you can connect. You can connect with us on LinkedIn. और अगर किसी का बैंक अकाउंट खाली होता है तो वी डू नॉट टेक एनी रिस्पांसिबिलिटी. थैंक यू.